Hello, and welcome to the Spec Shaman Podcast, a show that explores the world of building product manufacturers, architects and engineers, sustainable design, and technology and trends. We engage in thought-provoking discussions with renowned experts, industry pioneers, and visionaries who are making a significant impact in the construction industry. Join us as we explore groundbreaking ideas, revolutionary concepts, and the latest advancements shaping the built environment. The Spec Shaman Podcast is hosted by Laura Elliott, the lead instructional designer at Ron Blank and Associates. Laura is a seasoned interviewer with a passion for uncovering the untold stories behind success. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Let's get started.
Hi, this is Laura Elliott with RBA, and I am here with Syndi Sim of Diamon-Fusion International, and we are so excited to have you here on this episode, Syndi. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you, RBA, the team at RBA. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, you were definitely on our immediate short list to be on the podcast. So this is a long time coming, and welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why you were is because we are such a big fan of your perspective that you share on social media. Social media is filled with so much polarization, from politics to what type of ice cream. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about how you stay so positive.
Well, thank you again. What I've found as I've gotten older, I really need to keep myself up. I need to keep myself positive, and I always believe you have to work on being happy. So when I decided to create my own personal blog, I thought, what a great opportunity to share it with the world. So one of the things that I really believe in is putting positivity out into the universe, to put out gratitude, to put out, thought leadership and compassion. And I know that if I put it out there, I not only personally feel it, but I think there's an opportunity to spread it virally. And I have received over the past, I would say 1 to 2 years, so much feedback from people all over the world, just thanking me for spreading positivity. And quite frankly, I did it selfishly, over a year ago when I really needed it for me personally. So again, it's an easy way to allow me to bring my personal contribution to my business side. And it really was a great mesh of the two worlds to give me an opportunity to showcase my beliefs and to spread the thought of just making our world a better place. And so to put it on the business side amongst LinkedIn, and to put it on the social side on, Instagram, was just a melding of my heart. So it's worked out really well.
Yeah, it's definitely something that, stands out, I think, in the landscape of the AEC industry. And it's really appreciated. I think the voice that you share is something that really matters to a lot of people. And I think we're all very grateful for it. And gratitude really is at the centerpiece, I think, in some of the content that you create. Could you take us through a little bit of that process of how you shape what you create and the goals that you're setting out to achieve?
Well, I think one of the most important parts about people, we are all human. And, as I've grown older, I'll mention that a couple of times, you really start to appreciate humanity. You start to really appreciate people for who they are. You don't try to, put people in boxes. You actually appreciate for what they offer, and you accept people for the good, the bad, the ugly. And so when I've been in the AEC industry now, it'll be 10 years later this year. And I've had such a phenomenal opportunity. The people, specifically, let's call it in the glass industry, they have welcomed me with open arms, okay? And when you feel the opportunity to be who you are and to be authentic, you want to embrace the people. So again, 10 years now, the glass industry, within the AEC industry, shows up for me every single time. So I wanted an opportunity to give back. And in my little way, I can give back. I really appreciate not only giving back to the whole industry, but I know we'll talk a little bit more about giving back to women. It's just a way to give back to the industry that has, done so much for me. And you mentioned gratitude. I am very grateful for the opportunity to be of service to this industry. And I hope in a small way I can repay the industry that has given me so much in my little tidbits on social media. So
yeah, that's a really interesting thing. I think that you hit a point, I think professionally, where you start to think about the legacy and the people that poured into you and how you can reciprocate that moving forward into the spaces that you work. And I think that what you're doing is really amazing. And I think it's hitting that note. So that's definitely appreciated. You travel a lot and you visit a lot of manufacturing facilities and meet a lot of new people. How has this shaped your experience in the AEC industry? And, what have you learned in those travels?
Laura, that's a great question. I had traveled about 1 to 2 weeks a month prior to COVID. And boy, was it eye-opening. Okay. It was life-changing. It was soul-shaping. It was such an opportunity to see every level of not only the industry, but every type of person within the industry. It made me appreciate, the hard work ethic, the opportunity to travel and to see people all over the country in all different types of climate, and specifically going to glass fabrication facilities. I was just at one yesterday and it was almost 90 degrees and you had the most amazing team in the plant processing glass with a wonderful attitude, appreciative for their jobs, and that is so wonderful to see, and it fills me up. And I don't go to the sexiest places either. I'm traveling to, a lot of places that's just farms and fields and a glass fabrication facility. So to be able to see people that appreciate their jobs, that are part of a team, that, we're all here to help one another. And that's another benefit of traveling, and again, a lot of this was done prior to COVID. And then when COVID hit is really when I took an opportunity to pass on the positive information, because these people filled my soul up traveling. I got to meet with executives, to people, scraping glass off the floor. And every one of them is human. Every one of them goes through highs and lows, but ultimately we're all in it to, help one another. And so I think that the travels have absolutely educated me. I love traveling in the sense of going to meet with customers. That has made a significant difference in my relationships. A face-to-face meeting, there's nothing better. There's absolutely nothing better. And you can feel it when you shake somebody's hand. You can feel the opportunity to share. And so again, I think that what I do social media wise, how I run the business, how I treat our customers, it all goes hand in hand with, it's all about humanity.
So the connections with the people that you meet really fuel a lot of the work that you do.
Absolutely.
I understand that. So I talk about this sometimes. My husband has been a rig welder for 20 years of his life, and that often means that he travels. He doesn't do that anymore, thank God. But when we first met, we got to go to a couple of places together, and he was in those small places. We went once to Monterey, Tennessee. And it was, lovely. Tennessee, probably the second best state to Texas. But it was wonderful. You get to meet a lot of people that really are a part of, creating the products that we use every single day. And that if they weren't doing that hard work and they weren't contributing the way that they were, we wouldn't have what we have. We wouldn't be able to live where we live. And it's such a value to meet those people that are involved in every part of the process. One of my favorite things when we develop a course is I get to see some of the videos that people have in-house of their employees and how they work and how they come together. And I think you're right. That human component is really important. And to see every level of experience that's creating something is really neat. How did you get started, though, in the AEC industry, speaking of the beginnings?
Well, I was very fortunate. I actually have education in criminology and public service, and I was really just looking for a change. And I was fortunate that this position actually kind of fell into my lap, and I had no idea about the glass industry, and it wasn't even a thought in my mind. And when I walked into Diamon-Fusion International, I knew this was an opportunity to not only grow the business, but to, expand the thought process of so many glass fabricators, to say that our product can be just so much more than a coating. And so I think what you do with an opportunity is so valuable. And again, the older you get, the more you appreciate, starting something kind of from scratch, building it and building it and building it, and see the success, see the opportunities you created. And then you also have a lot of failures. And I think failures are a great learning tool, a great stepping stone, a great way to do things different. You have to listen to yourself. So I think that when this opportunity fell into my lap, it was, I'm going to make a change. I'm going to try a brand new industry. I've always done, essentially sales and marketing, excuse me. But this is an opportunity for me to grow and stretch, and for me to get out of my comfort zone. And that's not always easy. So, I saw an opportunity with a new industry, and, again, now 10 years later, I'm loving it.
I bet. I mean, and I think that's really apparent. I think that we see that in what you're doing. There seems to be a lot of joy in your work, and that's really transparent. And for women, especially in the AEC industry, that's really inspiring. What kind of work do you do in order to help women kind of grow in the AEC industry, and what changes do you want to see continue to happen?
Well, that's a passion of mine. So whether it's women in the AEC industry or whether it's women in general, when you have opportunities that are not necessarily given to young girls, i.e., do they even know about the glass industry? Do they even know about the construction industry? Do they even know about welding? All the trades, are they educated or made aware of that as young girls? Generally speaking, they're not. Again, however, we being the National Glass Association, the NGA, is changing that for the better. And it all starts with education. It all starts with going into the schools. Okay, so once you can start going into the schools and talking about the different trades, and then, being with this younger generation, okay, to help educate them on, there's so much opportunity out there. So then when I got into the glass industry, typically a male-dominated industry, I was like, this is an opportunity for so many women. There's so much support within the glass industry. When I came in, my first, 90 days to 6 months to a year, I had these amazing people reaching out to me, offering me support, just saying, whatever you need, ask questions. And it was refreshing. And so what I am trying to do now is I am trying to help mentor women, not only in the glass industry, but women in general, to say, it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter if you were taught at, or educated in school about the different trades. Now is an opportunity to make a change. No age, is too old to try something new. There's opportunities. There are people that want to help you. And as I mentioned with the National Glass Association, they do a lot for women in fenestration, which is women in the glass industry, there is a huge push, a marketing initiative to really promote women in the trades. And so when you couple that with all the education that is being done in the industry, and I feel like it's my job to give back because, again, the glass industry has given me so much support. I was recently very fortunate to become a board member of the National Glass Association. So that is an opportunity for me to give back to not only the entire industry, but to show women that it is possible, that anything is possible, that you make sure you have a seat at the table. You know, I learned a long time ago that you have to do it on your own. You have to take a seat at the table for yourself, because a lot of people don't do that for you. But again, I was very fortunate. So I'm really hoping that the opportunities that the National Glass Association is doing, the opportunities that I can present to some of the women, that we can help promote women in general. And this is globally. I mean, I'm a huge proponent of International Women's Day. It's really just to help women on a global level fend for themselves and make money for themselves. That's incredibly important. So it is education, and it's about supporting women.
So are there like specific education initiatives, like partnerships with K through 12 schools, or?
Yes. So the NGA has partnered with different associations to bring education into the schools. They run different camps in the summertime just for girls to help them learn how to cut glass, to let them know how to work with plumbing. It is all about the trades, and it is so inspiring.
I bet.
It's amazing. And then there's a lot of associations for women. There's Women in Construction Association. There is, different segments of there's, I was involved with Women in International Trade. So there's a lot of women-led organizations that you just have to research. And then again, a lot of these have come to me via other women.
Right.
It's really important, to be able to handhold other women as you walk up the ladder, as you, learn the opportunity. Again, a lot of times I believe it comes with age, it comes with knowledge, it comes with confidence. So it's my responsibility to give back.
Yeah, I definitely believe in that. As you go up the ladder, you hold someone else's hand behind you. I've had some instrumental people in my life. And I also would say that there have been, like, especially in academic realms, like I've had male professors that really understood the value that I had and understood the world around us, that there wasn't space being made, and that it was their responsibility to contribute to making that space. So I think that it's both things. Like, women do such a wonderful job helping each other, and then the men that make the space as well. I think it's such a, it's a really cool thing to see shift over, I'm sure, your lifetime and my lifetime. We kind of overlap a lot, and it's really interesting to see it all happen, the way that it has. And I look even at my daughter, and I have an awareness that she's going to have a new experience that I would never have. Right. Like there's spaces being made for her. She, she's, I have multiple daughters, but I'm thinking of my redhead for some reason, but she really, like, she got to do NASA camp this year, and those kinds of, like, really very, like this just exposure to these spaces that even when I was a little girl did not exist for me, So it's just really neat to see the movement, and the AEC industry. It's noticeable. There's space being made, and there are, women collaborating. And there's a really good women and men partnerships that are happening. And it's really nice to see the recognition that's happening and the movement that's happening in the industry. You recently adopted a new service-based solutions, though. And I was really curious about that. I mean, I don't mean to shift too abruptly, but I thought that was really interesting as well. I wondered where the origins of that came from.
No, thank you for shifting over to that. So what we, Diamon-Fusion International, what we have done is we have shifted from selling product to almost being service-based. And the reason why we've done that is to take a step back, the glass industry specifically is not very good at marketing. Okay, it's just generally speaking. And so it is a lot, or it's been, let's say it's been a lot of referrals, a lot of family business. You know, it's you know, you do good work, I do good work, we help each other. So that's what it's really been. Okay. In the last 5 years, I have seen a huge shift in the glass industry to really start wanting to market. There is a lot more competition out there, and it's becoming much more digitally / social media focused. Okay. Prior to 5 years ago, even prior to 3 years ago, quite frankly, very little was done online by the glass industry. Okay, so about 2 years ago, we decided to shift from, so we sell machines that use our coating, our process to treat glass. Okay, so it's an easy to clean protective coating that treats glass. So I am not in the business of just selling a coating, okay? Because anybody can just sell a coating. And this is my opinion, and this is how we shifted to a service. So what we do now is we are an all-encompassing, service-based, we will sell you the machine, we will sell you the coating, but we also want you to be successful. We want to help you market. We want to help you sell. I will do specific targeted co-branded materials. So if ABC company buys our machine, then it has to be a win-win partnership. It has to be handheld. I generally go out to the facility. I train all the sales reps. Sales reps are key with this initiative. We not only do the email marketing campaigns to drive their new initiative, this customer ABC Glass, we now do emails, we do press releases, we do a lot of digital
that's very cool
advertising for them. We do marketing materials that have their logo. I actually go in the field with the reps. So really important that I don't just hand them a machine and hand them a coating and say, there you go, good luck. That it doesn't work. It's very hard to get people to change, myself included.
Understood.
It's very difficult. Change is very difficult on a lot of people. So let me be up there in your facility, hand holding the sales reps while our marketing team handles all the marketing, then I'm going out with the field, as a manufacturer's rep. And let me tell you, Laura, it's been incredibly successful.
Wow, that's awesome.
We've been very fortunate, we've learned the hard way though. This is where my point is about, if you have not necessarily a failure, but if you see something not necessarily working, change it for the better. Okay.
Right.
So when you make change for the better, you learn from your mistakes, then you look what you can come up with. I also believe in asking the industry what they want. And when you ask your customers what they want, generally you're going to get an honest answer.
Right.
And they said, we need help with sales and marketing. And I have, testimony or, that said, we are only buying your machine and your product because of all the marketing support you offer. So it's really been able to differentiate us. It's really been able to differentiate our customers. So now they are getting a whole package for the price of a machine. So that's where, we've really been able to grow leaps and bounds over the competition by offering something no one else has. And you also have to constantly be thinking about what can we do better. You never want to rest on your laurels. I always believe in the mentality. My competition, I believe, is calling my current customer. So I always want to be under that mentality that you want to make sure your customer is well taken care of. And that's how we do it. We do a lot of support that way.
That's very creative. I really love that. because the opportunity to just say, here's your machine, I will see you later, exists. And I think that's almost the standard model. So to think outside of the box on that and to provide that extra level of support, and I can't even, from the tech side to the marketing side, what that must mean for people that are invested in making those kinds of products. That's really cool. I would have loved to be in on those development meetings. Development meetings are like my favorite places to live. I'm like, let's develop something and think about it. That must have, that's a really a great solution to really set yourself apart.
Yeah, thank you. It's almost ever evolving, and I really believe it. You know what I mean? We didn't come out of the gates like that, by no means. Trust. But if you can constantly, your mindset should be, how can I help my customer?
Right.
How do I grow my business, but how do I grow their business?
Right.
And so it's a conversation, it's a strategy, it's
sure.
A lot of strategy behind it. And I've seen the difference where you just sell them a machine and a coating. And then I've seen the difference where you handhold them throughout the entire process. And it's significant.
Well, good on Diamon-Fusion International for coming up with such an excellent idea. That's really actually very inspiring and very, very cool. It must be really rewarding. I know that, like, for me personally, at RBA, we live in a similar space where there is such an opportunity to develop what's needed. I meet with a lot of clients over this industry, and I really listen to what people are asking for and what they need. And one of the very cool things about RBA that I'm lucky for, and it's similar to what you're experiencing, is that they allow you to create based on what the client needs are. And that is awesome, because you're not stuck into a format where it's like, this is the only way forward and we can't do anything different. And that creative process really helps to move the industry forward, I think. And that's very cool. So, I love the example that you've shared, and it must bring you to such a place of gratitude, right? Because
it's full circle, Laura. It's exactly what you said. That is exactly the point of everything I do. It's because I'm so grateful to the customers and to what this industry has given me.
Mm-hmm.
I want to help my customers be successful. Not only do I feel grateful for, having the job I do, but then it's gratitude for just being here, every single day, and so you hit the nail on the head. It's full circle.
Yeah, it's really awesome. How do you hone the gratitude mindset? Because I understand, I've been practicing, honestly, like this is one of the reasons why I was so stoked to meet you. I've been consciously, because gratitude is not something that you just like write a quote about and then bam, you've changed how your mind frame is, or how you orient your response to things in life, right? Because
Correct.
At the heart of it, life will hand you a series of challenges, both professionally and personally. And you can say, I have gratitude, but the practice of it is a very different thing. So how has gratitude really helped you with your work-life balance? And what have you gained from using that mindset?
Well, that is a great question, because it's not always easy, to be honest.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So what I have to do is I have to work on it every day.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that has really helped me is thanking myself for just the basics. So every night when I put my son to bed, we say our prayers, but we say thank you for the beautiful, house we live in. Thank you for the food. Thank you for our health. It's just the basics, and if I know that sounds almost cliche, but it starts right there. It starts with, do I have the basics? And I struggle to always remain grateful when the daily challenges of life. Laura, you said it perfectly. There's so many challenges. I have to remind myself, and it's not always easy, to say, okay, take a deep breath and remember, what are the basics that you have and that are good? I have my family, they're healthy, I have a roof over my head, I have, food, I have water, and I have a job. So if I have those basics met, I then say, okay, I have so much good in my life. Let me figure out how I can get over this challenge, or I'm really working on control what I can control, and that's not always easy either. So again, to really go full circle to the first question, a lot of my social media posts are selfishly written. They're selfish for me to say, I am so grateful. I am confident. I have so much to offer. You say all that. And then again, I believe that if it's helped me, it can help so many people. So what allows me to have the work-life balance is I work on it daily. And, this, you have kids. When you look at your kids and you say, I'm so grateful for them. I'm grateful for just the basics. It is a lot easier to say, I have so much good that these little challenges are not worth my energy and my emotion. And what I work on is saying all of this energy that I'm getting frustrated at work, because it does happen, I'm going to use that for my family. I'm going to use that energy for myself. And so it does really go for a work-life balance. And this is why I love my personal blog, is I write these things, and oftentimes I go back and review them, just to remind myself, Syndi, you wrote these for you. And, but again, I do believe it takes effort to be happy in the way that, you have to work on it. And there's good and bad in life, and there's challenges. And this goes back to when I travel, every person in the world has challenges.
Yeah.
I am no better than anybody else, and nobody else is better than me. We are, I am a huge believer in equity or inequality for all. And so it only helps me when I'm able to be grateful for what I have.
I think that that's a great perspective. And I think that it's not just that it's great and it's not, it feels good to say it, right? But I think that it really is a mindset that supports your daily life, right? And sharing that, I think, I think back to like 2017, I think was when I really kind of fully harnessed this space of like, what does gratitude really mean? And I listened to Oprah Winfrey's interviews that she was doing, and just kind of really started to follow a lot of, thought leaders on how we go through our lives with the practice of gratitude. And, I think that, this time is really special. So we kind of sit in a space where, there's a lot to be grateful for, I think, in the AEC industry. I think that it's really cool to see progress happen. I think it's really awesome that so many people care about, equity issues, and they care about making space for great ideas, and regardless of where they come from, and that, people are well represented and well cared for. And so, we keep that mindset at the forefront when we're creating content that focuses on it. So it's really cool that you're writing what you know and what you practice on a daily basis.
Thank you.
When you think about the breadth of your career, right, and the legacy that you leave behind, is that really the takeaway that you want people to have, the focus on gratitude and positivity?
Absolutely. I mean, as I'm also a believer in life is hard. And when I say that, it's not to disparage anything, is life is hard and you have to make the most of it. And I have a special needs son, and I bring that up because life is hard, but it's how you walk through the world. And there's good days and bad days. And I'm hoping that throughout my career, and I will say that honestly, in the past 10 years, being here, getting older, having a child with special needs, it puts a whole new perspective on life. So can I say I was this emotionally intelligent 20 years ago? No. To be honest,
Understood.
I would say that it's going through life. It's going through the ebbs and flows of life that has allowed me to really focus on gratitude. And I do hope that my legacy is about how I've been able to spread kindness, compassion, love, acceptance. Those are critically important. And I like sending that message, not only on a personal level, but really so to the business world. I think emotional intelligence in today's world is so important, and so many people don't necessarily understand it enough, but I think it makes such a difference if you can have more compassion and more kindness and thoughtfulness and empathy as a manager. It just helps your business grow. So I do hope that becomes my legacy, is giving back to the AEC community, giving back to women in the glass industry, and giving back to people in general.
Yeah, I think those are great. Those are great and noble goals. And I think that you are achieving them. And so that's really cool. I think you touched on it earlier, you can set out to accomplish something, and sometimes you don't necessarily achieve it immediately, but it's really cool when you hit those strides of success where you're really implementing what you set out to do. So it's very notable what you're doing, and we all really appreciate it. I was spending some time looking at some of your posts, and I noticed something by Ryan Holiday that you had put up, which I thought was really brilliant. So I kind of wanted to close with this little short list that you had provided. And I thought I could ask you a questions based on his list. So Ryan Holiday created a list of the 7 things to live by. So I thought we could close with the 7 things to live by, and you could maybe give me a little short answer on what time and things like that. So you'll see. His first one was to wake up early. So how early do you wake up?
But what a great way to wrap up the conversation. I think I have, again, this is a lot when I'm older. I realized waking up early, it allows you to have a little bit of alone time, a little bit of connecting to yourself. I don't wake up that early, to be quite frank. I wake up about 6 a.m., but it gives me about, a solid 15 to 30 minutes just to be alone and to be there with my thoughts. And it allows me to do a little bit of gratitude practice. And this, I generally will say, let myself and my family have a good, productive day. Let us be safe on the freeways, and it's just very grateful. So that, extra 30 minutes in the morning allows me to do it, really a gratitude
centering.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. I do the same thing. I don't want to tell you how early I get up, because it's so early. It's not even worth talking about. But I have to, because it's the only time that I can. And it's my cherished time of day. It's quiet. Nobody needs me yet. And I'm like getting ready so that I'm available when people do need me. You know what I mean? And
wonderful for you.
It's such a, the caffeine helps make it possible.
Yes.
Brought to you by caffeine. But so Ryan's next one on the list was, don't watch the news. Do you watch the news?
No, I refuse to watch the news. I really do. And, there's always going to be people say, if you don't watch the news, you put digging your head in the sand. There's 2 ways to look at it. For me, and this is, again, just for me, I do not watch the news. I cannot emotionally afford to watch the news. I am a very compassionate, kind person. However, when I watch the news, I get very upset and I get almost dysregulated. So I have chosen not to watch the news at all and just function to the best of my ability every single day. And I do have a lot of trust in people that hopefully other people are running the world, as what do they do best. But I need to focus on my family and myself.
I think that there's some wisdom in that. I meet a lot of leaders in what I do, which is a really cool aspect of my job. And I find that a lot of them are very trustworthy people. And I feel that if they're the ones that are, making these bigger decisions that are kind of maybe above my pay grade, like, we're going to be okay. And I really do think that you can find information without watching the news. You know what I mean? Like it's there at our fingertips. We can source it without having the flashiness of it that can be kind of distressing.
Absolutely.
So I think that there's some wisdom in don't watch the news, right?
Yes.
That doesn't mean you don't have to know, but I mean, I think you're right. There's a good emotional protection in that advice. Listen more than you speak. Oh man, what a practice.
that is, I'll be the first to admit that's not easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, I've done the majority of the talking on this. Yes. But I do really have to mentally prepare for that when I go see customers. And for my relationship at home, I really am working on listening more than I'm talking, because that's been, I haven't been good at that. Yeah. So I really believe that when you don't talk, you learn so much more.
So much
more.
It's a fascinating thing, and you're definitely allowed to talk the most here. that's like the format. So it's perfect. But that when I saw that, I was like, ooh, that's such a good one. It's like the practice of gratitude. It's the same thing. It's in the same line. If you can be quiet and just listen to what people are saying, and not only what they're saying, but what they're not saying, I think you learn so much on how to really be helpful and how to really navigate most communications and relationships.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this is why I loved this list. And the next one was don't suffer imagined troubles. Wow. Wisdom.
Such good wisdom. Such good wisdom. I mean, that's why I like Ryan Holiday is, I do that a lot. I project, I don't know if you do that as a mom, as a parent, but, I do project a lot that doesn't even happen.
Right.
So I'm working on, that goes back to my gratitude. That goes back to my post, being present, being in the moment, and appreciating what I have at the moment, and not giving way to worry. Again, a lot easier said than done. I don't want to come off as, it's a daily practice, to be focused on the good and not to worry.
And that goes right into the next one, which is think progress, not perfection. Right?
Absolutely. And I think that's what I appreciate is this is what life is about. Life, ultimately, it goes for parenting, it goes for everything. Right. It is so much about the progress and to feel good in the progress, and just know, my husband always says, it's a journey. It is absolutely a journey, and try to embrace the journey. Again, doesn't always make it easy, but this is why I'm so focused on trying to write my feelings out to maintain a sensibility of appreciation and focus on what I have today.
Right. And even something like the dream with Diamon-Fusion International, where you're taking a concept and you're building it from scratch, let's not only make the machine, but let's support our customers and their whole process of selling what they're making with what we make. Like, that didn't just happen in a day, right? That was an idea that took time, and that's the progress, and you might even get to the end of it where it's to fruition and it's implemented and people are like championing it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is great, but that's not the perfection, right? That's continued progress, because I'm sure you're going to come up with something in a year that's going to build on that or change that direction and make something new, right? And so it's very cool to see that level of growth happen and to understand that the progress is the point, right? And not the perfection.
Absolutely.
So this one is probably my favorite. Strict with yourself, tolerant with others. And that is, wow. Like it's holding yourself to that caliber, right? Of like, this is my accountability.
That's right. And I think the one thing, accountability is so important. And we as a society, as humanity, we do not do enough accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, let's say self-accountability. Okay.
Right.
So we're talking about holding ourselves accountable for our what we put out into the world, how we interact with other folks. I mean, how we parent, how we work. I mean, it's so important to hold yourself accountable. And I just don't think we do enough of that. And I hope that, you know, again, it goes back to the age. I think as you grow older, you realize that, you know, there's it's a 50-50 when you grow older. As you grow older, you just don't care anymore. Meaning you don't worry what anybody thinks about you. Are living your life for you, you know, it's all about you in that one aspect, but it's also a time to reflect. It is a time to reflect on what you have done, and it's a time to reflect on how you treat people, how you portray yourself in the workplace, how you parent, and to look at the self accountability at that point. It really is eye-opening. So again, the older you get, I believe there should be a lot more self-accountability, even though I think it should go through your whole life. But just knowing how I was as a, you know, in my youth, and we know how youth is, it's wonderful. It's, you know, but there's just these levels of life that you really start to appreciate. And I think that's a special time to have some more self-accountability.
And I think there's a lot of good personal reward that comes with that, right? It's that self-discipline, like it changes you, right? And the more you hone it, the more you kind of appreciate what you're developing within yourself. And then it doesn't just speak to your personal life, it speaks to your professional life as well. It's like, well, I have these tasks that I must accomplish in order to make the company that I'm, you know, working with and collaborating with and supporting successful. And as you continue to hold yourself to this level of accountability, it's like it's prismatic everywhere you go. Everything you touch is so rewarding. And I think then if you partner missions like let's help women in the AEC industry be successful, and you have that level of self accountability where you're like, I'm not just saying it, I'm doing it, I'm practicing it, I'm, you know, it becomes this thing where the legacy you build is that progress, right? That and it all becomes like this harmonization of effort. That's really, you know, kind of miraculous. And it's why we love you over at RBA, because you're doing it and it's an example and it's great. And so we're going to close with the last one, which is to see opportunities where others see obstacles, which kind of
and so that I was just going to say, Laura, that wraps up exactly what you just said. You said it, you know, in perfect harmony. You said it, you know, that see life as an opportunity. There are going to be obstacles, no doubt about it. You know, nobody is really immune to obstacles. Okay. It is how you deal with the obstacles. And we know that dealing with these obstacles with grace, with kindness, with compassion and self-love will allow you to conquer the obstacles and get through to the opportunity, because opportunity is all around you, and it is how you take that opportunity. And even if there are obstacles within that, it is how you manifest the growth past the obstacle to the opportunity. And every single person has it. You just have to be mindful to look out for it and take it when it comes. And life is extraordinary. It's just not always easy. And again, I'm incredibly grateful, Laura, to you and the RBA team for asking me to be on this podcast and for the opportunity to really continue to spread, positivity, strength, and motivation to, people all over the world.
Well, we're really grateful that you do,
Thank you.
and we're really glad to have you. It's been really a great conversation. One of the things that I thought about when I saw what he said about the obstacles and opportunity is this quote, and it's "the obstacle is the way," which I love it. And it's you're right. You're absolutely right. The obstacle allows you to grow. And if you see it as the opportunity, you can change, the world, and you're doing that. So
yes. Well, thank you again for the opportunity
absolutely.
to pass on my message.
Absolutely. And we'll love to talk to you again soon, I'm sure. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for listening to the Spec Shaman Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to our show and leave us a review. The Spec Shaman Podcast is produced by Laura Elliott and Brad Blank. A huge thank you to our guests who made this show possible. Building product manufacturers who want to increase their specification opportunities, please visit specshaman.com or ronblank.com. Thanks all for this episode, folks. See you next time.